What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Classes with Glasses. Here you'll gain perspective from a six-figure seller wearing Meta glasses. I promise you that if you keep watching these videos, I will make you proficient and efficient in all your classes. Today's video is on thrifted electronics. I know that a lot of you won't pick something up because you're afraid that it's not going to work, which I get because you don't want to waste any money. So today I'm going to show you how to test thrifted electronics when you are out and about sourcing, and also when you come back to your processing room. Okay, let's get right into it. We're gonna be testing remotes, and this is because there was a lot of people asking me how I test remotes. I understand the fear. You don't wanna buy them because then you get them home and you're like, well, I still can't test them. I don't know how to test them. What if I ship it out to a customer and it doesn't work? What if I get a bad review? What if I get a return? First, we're gonna talk about what kind of remotes you're gonna find when you're outsourcing. There are basically four types. First type is the one that almost everybody will always find, and it is called an IR remote. That is infrared. It basically means that it shoots out a little bit of light from here to a receiver. When the receiver catches it, it knows that you're pressing the button. And we're gonna show you how to test those today. Two, RF remotes. Those are radio frequency remotes. Those work on radio frequencies. Three, Bluetooth. Four, Wi-Fi. We're only gonna test IR today because the other ones all need basically the same thing. You need to connect it to something, to an actual product, to a receiver, to a VCR, DVD player, or whatever, so that it can actually work. This one, I can show you how to test it right now as soon as I put in some batteries and with that camera that you see right there. All right, first let me show you what you need when you're outsourcing. All you need is to carry these in your pocket, AAAs, 9-volt, and AA's. But first, I know that a lot of people won't do this because maybe they don't have access to something like this. But when you are taking a battery with you because you're going to test product, you need to make sure that your battery works, because how do you know it works? There are dud batteries. It's very rare, but you can get a bad one. So we're going to test it. So right now, you just follow the diagram right there. We put it in here into this tester. Whoop, there we go. And it shows green, as in it is a good battery. Now, we would do the same thing for all the other ones, but you guys get the picture. You first need to make sure that whatever you're using to test actually works, because what if you get a bad battery and you start putting in a bunch of remotes and you don't pick any of them up, although they did work, but because your battery was bad, it shows as they didn't work. So I think it makes sense, right? And for those of you that are wondering, yes, you can fit this in your pocket comfortably, because this is what I carry. Now, I have a bag that has a whole bunch of other stuff in it because it's a lot better, but sometimes when I don't have to carry that bag because I don't need everything that's in there, all I need is the batteries and I'm good to go. Right? Okay, so let's test this one real quick. This is very simple. You take off the back, slide it off. We pop in the proper batteries. In this case, it's going to be AAA. And since this is IR or infrared, remember what I said. It shoots a light beam into the camera, and that camera right there is so sensitive that it picks up this light beam. We can't see it with the naked eye, so that's why those cameras work. So once I press a button, you can see the purple. Off, on, off, on. That's it. Now you know that this actually works, as in it's sending the beam of light out. Now, you still have to test all this, right? Make sure that the buttons feel good. Make sure that they actually go home, back, and all that. I understand that maybe you want to test it with an actual Roku, right? Make sure the volume works, the mute, and all that. Look, that is doing too much. The basic thing that I'm telling you right now is that as long as you see that on the screen and these, you can hear them click. Can you hear them? If you can hear them click, they don't feel sticky and they don't get stuck when you press them down, that's pretty much all you're gonna do, and you're gonna be good to go. If you do have a problem and somebody says the button isn't working, then just return it and that's it. Now, when you are looking for remotes, what else are you looking at? Because this is a simple one. This is almost brand new. If you open it in the back, look at that. It looks freaking new, right? Sometimes they don't look like that, or sometimes you're picking up old remotes like this one. What you do is that you open the back, and sometimes you're gonna see that. That right there is corrosion. That is definitely gonna hurt the remote, or it's not gonna work. So how do we clean it? All you need is a little bit of distilled white vinegar, which we're gonna put in here. 90% or above isopropyl alcohol for cleaning purposes after you use the vinegar, and cotton swabs. So let's do it. By the way, I didn't put this distilled vinegar into this little cup beforehand because it smells like vinegar. So just so you know, it's going to smell up the whole area wherever you're working on. So after we put the vinegar in here, we're going to dip our cotton swab, and you don't have to put a lot of it. As long as it's moist, it'll be fine. And then you're going to rub all your contacts right here. So what we're trying to do is that we're going to get this acid to remove the corrosion. You touch all the contacts on both sides or wherever the corrosion is. Sometimes if it's a lot, you're going to hear it crackle. You can hear the corrosion crackling. After we're done with that, we throw the cotton swab away. We get into our isopropyl alcohol. And this, all you're doing with this is you're cleaning off the residue left by the vinegar. And essentially we're going to do the same thing. We're going to clean the whole thing, every single contact, whatever the vinegar touched, and until we are done. Just so you know, the reason that you use 90% to 99% isopropyl alcohol is to make sure that this evaporates quickly, because you're just going to leave this to air dry right there. And that is pretty much going to be it. After that, then we're able to put the batteries in and test the remote. Simple. Oh, I wanted to mention one other thing. If you do have a problem with a lot of corrosion and the cotton swab won't do it, a plain old toothbrush like this, you can just use it to clean, to rub everything off. The bristles, obviously, it's going to help a little more than this. So you can always use one of these. There are a ton of different products like this out there that are, say, you know, it's for cleaning specific to electronics and specific to this, specific to that. You don't need any of that. I have a whole bunch of different brushes. For example, these are plastic. This is metal. This is actually for my 3D printer, but this is metal. But a regular old toothbrush will do it. I want to make sure that you don't waste any money buying extra shit that you don't need. Sometimes you can do that. So you see how simple it was? It's basically almost clean. Now, I do recommend don't pick up everything that's corroded just because you know how to clean it now, because it's not always going to work. So the assumption is that if it is corroded and it can bring you, say, 50 or 80 or $100 because it's a very unique remote, then I would get it. If you are trying to clean a remote that is only going to bring you $6 in profit or $8 in profit, I'd probably say, you know what? No, forget about it. Because then you're taking time and energy to do this, and it's unnecessary. The third thing we're going to check is handheld electronics, because these you'll find a lot. And if you guys watch any of my videos, I've bought some that cost me $1 and I sold them for like $50. So it depends on the electronic. This one, so-so. I think it's maybe a $15 handheld game, and I bought it for like 50 cents. So whatever, you know, I'm still going to make money. But first things first, you got to be real careful sometimes. The old, these little tabs right here, you can't just push it out. If you notice, it says, or I don't know if you can notice, but it says insert coin. And the reason it says insert coin is because it has a little thing that you have to push that's grabbing onto this flap right here, right? I don't have a coin. That's why we picked this one up. I always carry a knife. So you just press it down and then slide out. There we go, the cover, the battery cover. Now we're going to test it. We're going to put a AAA battery because that's what it says that it needs. Wow, that was loud. And well, we already know that it's pretty much going to work, right? Because we already heard it. You know what? I'll put that on later. And there you go. Now you can start playing with it, start messing with it. But basically, this is good to go. And look, I know that this is very basic stuff. I get it. And I'm showing you because I want to make sure that you guys don't skip anything because you're afraid that electronics won't work, that you're afraid that you can't test it and you're going to lose money. I mean, if you do simple things like this, if you carry these batteries with you, you can test on the go. And now, speaking of testing on the go, let me show you what I mean. This past weekend, I was at a great estate sale in San Antonio, and I decided to go to the electronics section to find a remote to test. That way I can show you guys how I test on the go. So I picked up this remote, which won't make any money, by the way, but I wanted to use it to test. I removed the back part, and fortunately, I already had batteries that were good, so I didn't have to do anything else, or I didn't have to use mine. I turn on the camera, and then I point the remote to the camera, and I know that you can't see it that well, but it is blinking purple. That means that it is working. Now, I wanted to show this one too because this one had a screw on the back and it was a little harder to get into it, but you know, we got to remove it to test it. What I want you to take away from this is that I am always ready with tools. And that tool right there is from Gerber, and I put it on my keys because it is basically a screwdriver. It also opens beers and does other things. The point is to always be prepared so that you can get into your items so that you can test them. And the regular screwdriver is always better because this one's hard to use, but it is what it is. And that was it, everybody. You now know how to make money with Thrifted Electronics. It's very simple to test them. Again, you can test them in the field, and you can test them when you come home or when you go to your processing room. I hope that videos like this inspire you to step outside of your comfort zone and get corroded products if you think you can fix them. Get things like this. And of course, remotes, because remotes actually do make a lot of money. In fact, if my cameraman turns around right here, look at this. Look at all these. First of all, these already, I can tell you right now that they're going to sell for sure. That one's going to sell. Onkyo is a great brand. And this one specifically, this big ass remote is a very specific remote. If this works, this is going to be a $50 remote. So there is quite a bit of money in this. You just have to know what to pick up, what brands to pick up, and make sure that you feel comfortable doing so that you make more money and you don't lose any money and just, start throwing them away. To continue supporting the channel, you can always send your thanks with the thanks button down below. You can buy the Resellupe to add value to the photos you're already taking. Better photos means better sales, plain and simple. And you can become a member of the Resellutions posse for less than gas station coffee and get access to videos that no one else has access to. Plus, right now, if you join as a top tier 40 count member, you get access to Bruce, my personal AI lister that you can use on ChatGPT that helps you make more money and saves you a ton of time because it writes way better titles, way better descriptions, and way better listings overall. As always, give this video a like, share this with anyone that needs to see it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already so you don't miss awesome videos like this. See you in the next one. Peace and cheers, everybody. Woohoo! To all of you that requested the video for the remote, I am listening to you guys. I promise you. I read all comments. I might not always make videos because let's just say that, there's 10,000 views and I get one person that wants something. I can't specifically make a video all the time for that. But if there's enough need, if there's enough people, for sure, I will make a video for you guys so that I can help you make more money. Boom, bitch. Huh. That was a good one. You don't have to point at me. You can just set it down for a second if you want. Just face it up. Hold on. And so that was it, everybody. That was it, everybody. That was everybody. And that was it.